Well, hello there, it's Darren here. I'm in the shell. Welcome back. I'm talking about compost again. So I did a video the other day talking about my coop poop compost. So I always do a video when the train goes by, don't it? Anyway, so I'm talking about my compost. So I'm in the process of making more compost here, as you can see. So all these 30 litre, bear in mind they're not full of soil. Basically every time I cut anything down, any trees, any dead wood, plants, anything, I've basically just been filling this, and if I've been digging a hole, chucking that in there. And then any soil, well, basically when I was in the polytunnel, I was digging the holes for the tomatoes, the courgettes, stuff like that, which were going into these 15, because these are 15 litres, 15 litre pots. I was basically getting that 15 litres and then chucking it on top of there. So gradually, what's underneath will slowly decay, rot, and then I'll add more again. And eventually, when all of these have come up, like it says, I don't want to touch them, because what's the point? It's extra potatoes. I'll basically either chuck it on top of here, even though last year, I mean, it was up here, it was massive, the pile. Or, which I've actually bought, I bought myself a battery operated electric saw. Probably not the best, but basically I want to cut this in half. The minute inside here, probably for the spiders and rats and all that, it's got, you see, loads of wood from last year, and I want to fill the beds with wood, fill the beds with all of this, which I'm making as compost, put that on there, put more soil on. This is more soil inside this bucket here, which I collected last year. Just normal soil, nothing special about it, just stuff I dug up, and it was just all getting chucked into here, and that'll be getting hopefully sorted in here. One of these will go here, and there'll be one at the back, and I'll fill that with all this compost here. But like I say, this is the reason why I keep stuff. I've just been to another plot where the wife is, because she's got hers in the one next door, and she was filling bags full of all the weeds and all the stuff she was picking up, and I asked her what she was doing with it. She said she was taking it to the tip, and I had to explain to her. I say to her, why don't you just put it in a pile? You can make a compost. You know, the whole point of anything, any waste that you get in allotment, is you don't chuck it. I.e., I don't chuck the weeds. I can't put them on top of the compost pile, but a lot of times I chuck them in water and make me liquid feed, so I don't waste that. Anytime I dig anything up, it goes into a pot. So if I'm digging any soil up, you know, or digging any holes, I've basically given myself, well, I've got a little bit out there, say I've got 70 litres of new compost for free. I was actually at garden, well, I think it was Home Bargains in the garden part, and I was looking at the cheapest compost was $5.99 or 3 for £15. So you're talking £15, half that's 75, say 75 litres of the water totally full. So 75, so that would cost me £7.50, and it's free. So never chuck anything you dig out and you're replacing with, I don't know whether you buy any, but obviously I'll show that video about the coop poop. That hole gets filled with coop poop, and then the plant goes on, and all this soil is from the holes. The same as basically each one of these is 15 litres. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 80. See, I've got about 190 litres of compost there. 190 litres of compost, free compost on that one as well. So 190, say 200 litres. I've got 200 litres. I've already sieved 540 litres out of the coop poop, and At the same time, these here, which is pure coop poop, rotted down for 2 years, I think so, 2 years where I got it. Basically these, there's about 10, 11, 12. So there's 180 litres of compost there, free, which next year, because the plant's going to use most of the nitrogen that's in there, that'll be used as sown compost, because it will be lacking in nutrients, hopefully by the time I use it, and I can sow my seeds in it. So that's getting reused. So all this process of making compost, sieving your compost, reusing, recycling, it's a constant recycling thing. So if I didn't actually use all these pots and I piled it on top of there, you can imagine how many. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 25, 26, 26 times 15, 300, 330, say 360, say 360, I can't work it out inside my head. You've got 360 free soil for next year. And you imagine you're doing that every year. You know, if you've got a chicken coop, or you're getting some chicken manure from another plotter who doesn't want it, imagine that every year. Like, I've been doing this process for a good 2017 I got my first chicken coop. I know, 2017 I built a chicken coop, and then I was given compost, and then I knocked down a compost, well, a raised bed that I had chucked all the chicken coop poop. I had in this area, knocked it down, and the soil was amazing. And I realised I got chickens, and even if I hadn't got that, I would have asked someone and got some. And at the same time, I had a pile of grass I was given when someone was doing someone's lawn. That was put upside down. Anything I ever found, it was just chucked in. And you imagine, this is a metre by a metre by about a metre deep. So I don't know how many litres, is that 1,000? I don't know how many is actually in here. That was all sieved. It's not like as good as what it was, but that was all sieved. At the same time, last March I had a fire, and I got the wood ash. I'll get past all my weeds here. Got the wood ash, and that's been lying here since March last year. So that needs to be incorporated into the compost as well. That's been sieved. Lovely, everything out of it. Probably says nails in and all that, but that was wood. But that needs incorporated. So all these processes of making compost, it might seem complicated, but even if you just start by getting any weeds, there's that one right there. Yesterday, the day before, I was putting my beetroot in, and there was weeds. It was covered in wood chip, the area, but there was grass around there and weeds. So I've just basically chucked it on the bottom, and all the stuff I took out the ground basically went in there. Not the best, but that doesn't bother us. It's not the best. It wasn't the best area anyway. It just quickly got dug over last year. Wood chip put on, and as I start putting more coop poop sieved in there, it'll get better the soil. Plus with the wood chip on there, it'll rot down. But that's just weeds under there, and the soil chucked on top. Like I say, is wood and old plants just all chucked on there. So, like I said, if you're going to start, just get a bucket, any bucket you could find. You know what I mean? You could have a bucket that size, or I say a bucket, pot, or a pot this size, a pot that size, pot this size, any size. I'm not saying to have the 30 litre pots, but you could just do that, chuck all your stuff in there, and then put it to one side, and then when you do something else, put it to one side. I've got to chop all this down. By the end of this year, I'm chopping this right back, and all this waste here will end up going in, I don't know, a bucket here, 30 litre bucket, or by the time I get these done, they'll all be put on the bottom, then stuff put on top, and then muck and all that sort of thing, and that'll rot down, and then next year I'll add more again, obviously to make it cheaper, because it will cost us a fortune to fill that, both of them. But you've got to think about doing it. When all this talk of peat-free based compost was coming out, that's when I really started going for it, just putting piles everywhere, just sieving it, using it, reusing it the year after. Got me, like I say, chicken coop. Sieved that, did that, added that, as I had mentioned to somebody on when I'd done the video I'd put on, saying basically I did my homemade compost, and then I did half homemade compost, half coop poop. The plant was double the size, and I knew straight away that was the key. But like I say, is ask somebody if they've got some, put it to one side for a year, then sieve it. You'll be surprised, you know what I mean? I was looking at a 20 litre bag of chicken manure, £20. I think that was the cheapest one I could find. There might be cheaper ones out there, but £20 for that, and that was 20 litres. I've took out of there 540 litres. So you can imagine that if I wanted to buy 20, what was it? 10, 20, 25, 26, 27, 27 times £20. Imagine that, how much that's going to be. £540, £540 for that. Unbelievable how much I would pay for that. £540 for me to have that, but it's free. But yeah, they do it or you don't. And all this soil, everything I've got in here, everything I've planted in these things is all been free soil. Free. From my coop poop, from my homemade compost and stuff reused from last year. So yeah, go for it, please go for it. You know, I do these videos with the compost and I tell people, and like, you know, I get the odd message going, oh, but it'll take ages, Yeah, it takes ages. If you don't start now, it's never going to happen. Do it. It's free. It'll save you a bloody fortune. Anyway, happy sowing, happy growing, have a fantastic weekend. I'm in the shed.